Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Vlogmas Day 2. It is December 2nd, 2023. My name is Karina, and welcome to episode 47. Where shall we begin? So in a way, I have already began. I filmed my walking tour out to the barn to feed the horses this morning and talked a lot about the horses, especially on the way back. I talked about my training session with Bragi yesterday, so you'll hear about that then. And my farrier was just here. So at the end, I will post a couple of photos of my farriers working on a very wet and muddy Odin, the Mustang, and also Bragi being a very, very good boy for being a young Mustang. Speaking of Mustangs, my two horses, Odin and Bragi the Mustangs, are horses that I adopted from the Bureau of Land Management Wild Horse Adoption Program. I have that link in the show notes. I live in the Pacific Northwest with my partner and our two kitties, Herbert and Harley, the cute little kitties. There will be a picture, I think you probably already seen it if you watched the intro of Harley snuggling under the Christmas tree. It's really cute. Right now, Harley is in the windowsill and he may come over here and try to jump on my lap. Like I said, we live in the Pacific Northwest. We had a very dry and cold November, and it is a typical wet and rainy December, although it did not rain for the farrier. What am I wearing? So this is a cowl. My mom made this cowl for me a few years ago and gave it to me for Christmas. It's a very simple pattern. I knit it. In fact, I think I knit one very similar to this. It was my very first knitting in the round project, and I learned about twisting when you're knitting in the round and how to avoid that. This is I think a bulky or a chunky weight yarn knit on a very large needle, so it makes a really nice cowl. And then the sweater I'm wearing is the rye sweater, and I have these, I think these might be coconut shell buttons. So Harley just ran through my yarn winder, the Swift. I hope he doesn't think that's a fun game. I'm gonna have to figure out how to protect that. So I will also include photos at the end of this video of the Swift and ball winder that my mom got me for Christmas, and it just arrived. I see that there is a photo. Oh, it's an exercise book, Fit by Nature. Isn't that nice? I use it sometimes. Yeah, so I opened, I talked about my Advents yesterday, and I opened several of them. I used the ball winder to wind the Polka Dot Creek yarn, and I'm going to talk more about this yarn later. This is a natural color. I wound that yesterday. It came with 2 skeins plus a bouquet of minis that I am using for an Advent project that I will show you. And then also I opened the Freckled Whimsey Advent yarn that I also, this is it's either 24 or 25 stripe. I'm not sure when I'm going to knit it. It's not really a high priority right now. So I've got my Advent yarn. This is my Scrappy Advent. Anyway, the Freckled Whimsey socks are not a high priority, so I will probably wait on that. The other Advent that I have is the Legacy Fiber Artz. So I'm trying to not knock over my glass of water. And I opened what is, I think, week 1 yesterday, and I can show that again because I think probably everyone who has it. So this is a sock set. It's 50 grams, I think, which is fine. That's enough for me for a pair of socks. I tend to make small socks. For one thing, my gauge is pretty loose, and I have kind of long, skinny feet, so So I'm not sure when I'm going to do that either. I'm not really doing a lot of sock knitting right now, except for an Advent project I'm doing. So, so the Scrappy Exchange, I showed the first one yesterday. So a nice little twist of worsted weight yarn. And day 2, I'm going to keep it in their packages because it has the yarn label. So day 2 is this kind of pastel-y, feels like maybe a fingering weight sock yarn, but here, I'll read the label and I'll find out. So this is Capella Iona Fibers, Simple Sock, 20% nylon, 70% wool. So that's only 90%, so I imagine it's probably 80% wool. So yeah, that'll be a nice contrast heels and toes for something. So very cool. Again, this was a private Scrappy Exchange that I was paired up with. The Crayabea, who has a podcast and is a prolific sweater designer, arranged this, and I want to say she got like over 700 entries, and she paired us all up, and I was paired with a lady from Portland. So I hope she's enjoying the scraps that I put together for her. I wound mine in just hand wound balls because that's before I had the really nifty Swift and ball winder. So what am I doing for Advent? I was going to knit the Arne and Carlos stocking, and it's a free pattern right now. I encourage you to get it because it's free up until December 24th. So I am going to follow along and print it as I go. So go to arnecarlos.com and you can click on the pattern and you will get the clues. The reason why I'm not doing that this year is because I ordered yarn and it hasn't come yet. So I have other projects to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on something else. So I started this morning the Bakery Bears Advent. And I'm going to put down my computer because I think I'm going to talk about everything I need to talk about here. And it is a sock, as I have been guessing, and it is the theme is Nutcracker, and she is using these 3 colors. The red is color 1, the green is color 2, and I believe the gold is color 3. I think is how she decided to do it. So that started this morning. She is, yeah, that is the order. She releases the clues every other day. So right now we're just working on the cuff. And my colors are red. This is the hand-painted yarn I've mentioned from Montana. This is from Jadawoo. This is a hand-dyed yarn in navy. I want to say this color is truffle, although I don't remember. If I can run into the tag, I'll tell you. And then I was thinking about doing a third color of gold, this 100% ultrafine wool by Barocco. Except it's not sock yarn. So I'm going to have lunch today with a friend, and we are meeting at a restaurant that is conveniently across the street from a yarn store. So I'm going to get a gold sock yarn and then just use this for something else. So maybe a shawl or a cowl. So I want to show you. So this is the cuff so far. It's 2x2 rib, but it's got some cables in there, so pretty cool. And I don't remember. I'm about 8 rows in. I did that this morning, so I'll probably finish it tomorrow. And then I have a second. I'm using Chowgu red lace in size 0, and I cast on the 56 size. So I finished row. Yeah, I think I must be on row 9. And I was going to look for the yarn label, but I do not see it right now. But I have the link in the show notes if you're interested in the hand painted yarn that will be available eventually. The company sold, as I understand. A viewer mentioned that, and they should be starting up with their yarn production here soon. So it is in a bag made by my mom. Yeah, perfect stock. This is a quilted bag, dragonfly, with a nice polka dot interior with a little pocket for notions, and it's perfect for socks. Okay, so I can put away the Polka Dot Creek yarn. And then I'll show you the other one. The other one is a Tellybeans Knit Advent. It's a shawl. We know what the shawl looks like. I can show you the picture. I started clue 1 yesterday. I found the picture. Her patterns always have a lot of pages, so and they're good instructions, so I don't want to sound like that's a bad thing. So this is what the shawl looks like. Started with the garter tab. I used one of the Polka Dot Creek Advents. Since the garter tab really does not, here is the bouquet, by the way. Since the garter tab doesn't take a lot, this is what I did yesterday. I am going to use that same color for clue 2, and I'll work on that tonight. And I think tomorrow what I'll do is I will probably just close my eyes, or, you know, I could do it right now. Why don't I just close my eyes and pick what the next color is? And it is going to be this color here. So I'm going to let that hang out and hopefully remember that that is what the next color is. So I'll think about that, whether that is really how I want to do it, or if I want to stay in color families. So I could go that, which makes me kind of wish I would have started with this lighter pink here, but I don't know. I'll think about it. So that is the second piece of this. So I might have to look at that. So the third Advent that I am doing, and I'm using that that natural colored fingering weight Polka Dot Creek yarn. Just thinking about the Tellybean Advent. I may have to see what the smart thing would be to look at the next section and see what color is going to work as far as like stitch definition and stuff like that. So that's what I'll do. Okay, so the next third Advent I'm going to start, I may start that, I'm not sure when I'm going to start it, is this holiday doodle scarf. Pacific Knits is a designer from Seattle area. She does a lot of local motifs, which is really fun for me. Like I said, I live in the Pacific Northwest, live north of Seattle. And there's just, let's see if there's, I printed out the whole pattern, which was like 19 pages. But there's just really a lot of fun winter motifs on this. And she has a pattern sale today. So the recommended yarn is DK light worsted or sport, but she says explore. So I'm going to. I was thinking of maybe holding that yarn double, but the technique is in the round. So it's a scarf. It's going to be double thickness. So I'm thinking that I am going to use fingering weight yarn and using maybe smaller needles. She recommends size US 5, which is 3.75. I'm thinking of using maybe a US 3 for this. I even have a set of, I think, what is this? Number 2s, which is 2.75. I'm not sure I'm going to use these. If I do, I'll use Jadawoo. So the yarn. I was thinking of having this natural color as the base or as the main color. And then I have a whole bunch of scraps and I could do each of those motifs. I don't know how many motifs there are. There's pages and pages of motif charts. So I want to say there's probably, let me see what the overall scheme is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, you know, you could use 12 different colors. So I have a whole bunch of scraps from socks and stuff. And I just picked out a whole bunch of them that are don't have white in them. So like for instance, this is from a tunic that I crocheted years ago. This is from a cowl I knit. Same cowl. So I think these are from a pair of socks I'm actually wearing right now, from the Sophia's Tale Mystery Sock Knit Along in October. I don't remember what that is. Some of these are just, could be accent colors. Here is, I think this is Dumbledore's Army by Freckled Whimsey, self-striping yarn. What is this? I think this is a Knit Picks yarn. I used this in a Stephen West shawl, the Exploration Station shawl, and so on. So, you know, here's pink. I have some blue. This was a sample, a Barocco sample. I used that in the Halloween cowl, and so on. So there's some gold in here. Oh, here's a turquoise I also used. That was initially a motif hat I knit for Randy for Christmas a year or two ago. And I also used that in the Halloween MKAL that Tellybeans hosted. So yeah, oh, here's one. This was a mini. I think that might be Hue Loco mini. I put that in a scrappy cowl. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna work on, the plan, I think, is I'm gonna work on that Clue 2 for the Tellybeans shawl, and then I'll cast on this one, the scarf. So that's my Advent knitting plan. That is all I have. I said I was going to make these shorter. These are not short. Today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday, so you may get a couple longer ones over the weekends. Once, I go back to work on Monday, I suspect they will be short again. So, until next time, happy Advent Day 2. Happy Vlogmas Day 2. Good morning, everyone. It is about 6:30 in the morning on Saturday, December 2nd. I'm walking out to the barn, looking at the sky, heading around the garage, taking on the journey of feeding horses in the morning, heading out down into the creek that's between the house and the barn. Turn on my headlamp because I can't see, you can't see. So today's going to be a pretty busy day. I've already done some Advent knitting. I started working on the K. Jones Nutcracker sock. Started with color 1, which I've decided is red, and that is that hand painted yard I have mentioned. My farrier's coming at 9, and then I am meeting a friend for lunch, a knitting friend up in Bellingham, and then I am meeting another friend for a walk afterwards, and then coming home and doing the evening feeding and all of that. So I'm not exactly sure. I probably have some time between the farrier and my having to leave for lunch to maybe work on this video a little bit, have some footage of the farrier, kind of looking for the horses. Oh, I see them out the corner. So I think that's the way that's going to work. Tomorrow's a busy day too. I'll talk about that tomorrow. We are at the barn, and I did want to share how the training session with Bragi went yesterday. So I'll do that perhaps on my way back up from the barn. I'm going to start feeding. Okay, I am done with barn chores. Hello, O. You can see O is pretty wet. Hi, buddy. It rained quite a lot over the last couple days, and my horses, which I always mention in the intro, are Mustangs, and they prefer outdoor living. I would like them to be somewhat domestic, so I feed them in stalls so they get used to enclosed spaces. They still don't prefer it. Hi, Bragi. Bragi, you are going to be the subject of our discussion. So, Bragi is my probably 5-year-old Mustang. He's harder to see because he's a dark bay with very little white. Hi, buddy. He's not very confident. He's not confident like Odin is. Odin was 6 when he was gathered from the wild, so probably old enough to have his own band of mares. Bragi was a foal when he was gathered. That's why I don't really know how old he is. Look at the moon. So his terms of training, it has been kind of a challenge. No, it's been a big challenge because of his insecurity, because he is very dependent on Odin, follows him everywhere if he has that option. That's another reason why I feed them separately. Not only do they have different nutritional needs, but I want to foster some independence. So I've tried, Bragi is old enough to be started under saddle, and my trainer and I were kind of under that path going in that path for a while. But it seemed like we would get to a place, like in the normal training routine, and he could not progress any further. He was just overwhelmed, and he would do certain things for cookies, but you could tell he wasn't really accepting it. He was just doing it because he wanted a cookie. I use positive reinforcement. So we've really started back to the basics. Like, here, how do you feel about putting on your halter? Let's play halter games. I'm pointing at the house. There's the creek, and then you might be able to see the Christmas tree through the trees. Pond. We're heading east, back up to the house. More creek. So we really started at some basic things, really having to work backwards. And he loves positive reinforcement. He loves playing games. So make it a game. Make putting on the halter a game. So I just hold the halter out with the nose band open, and he gets a reward if he sticks his nose in it. So he loves that game. We've also played games of like free lunging, just moving to the left, moving to the right. And when he gets confused and goes right when I want him to go left, I gently correct him, ask him to go left again. And then after that, he gets a reward for going left because that's his harder side. So I'm of the philosophy that horses will tell you what they need in terms of training. So right now, our goal is to have Bragi be comfortable in the horse trailer. Speaking of the horse trailer, there it is. So we're using a target game where he targets a cone and he gets a reward. And then we up the ante and say, oh, okay, can you target the cone when I am not standing directly next to you? And then he gets a reward. And then we up the ante a third time, and we are going to target the cone without me standing right there. I get to back away, and he stands at the cone and touches it. So that's the game we're playing, and we practiced that yesterday. We also practiced with some barrels. He's very sensitive and reactive, so just kind of playing with barrels, knocking them down, stuff like that. And eventually we want to kind of simulate a shoot where it's a tight space and he can be like between the barrels and the round pen fence and stay there and be okay with it, because that's going to simulate what it's like to be in the horse trailer. So that was training yesterday. I have lots to practice. I won't see my trainer again in a couple weeks because I have an appointment next Friday, and but it's good. Bragi learns very slowly, so it is good to take that time and not drill and just make it fun. Okay, here I am back at the very brightly lit house, so I'll see you later.